Sometimes you wait ages for a new Nissan SUV to come along and then suddenly two come in quick succession. Of course, I'm talking about the new MY25 Nissan Qashqai, which has been lightly facelifted inside and out. But the real difference, and it's something that may make you reconsider buying a Mazda CX-30, Subaru Crosstrek and even an Audi Q3, is what's behind the vehicle. But don't go there just yet, camera person. This is something you don't want to miss. My name is Byron Matthew Darkus for CarsGuide.com.au and I will show you why. Let's go. Here's a fun fact. The just superseded Qashqai was actually meant to debut way back in 2020, but the pandemic delayed it for Australia until the 2023 model year. That's why the new facelift seems to have arrived so early. Prices rise by about $300 over last year's model, and while they remain significantly higher than cheap Chinese equivalents like the Chery Motor 5, Haval Jolion and MG ZS, the latest Qashqai is very competitive with quality Japanese and Korean rivals like the CX-3, Crosstrek, Toyota Corolla Cross, Honda HR-V, Hyundai Kona and Kia Seltos. As a result, Nissan wants to remind buyers of this with an introductory offer with the two lowest grades temporarily discounted by up to $2,000, but only until April 30. It makes these the cheapest that this generation Qashqai has ever been, and that's without factoring in the extra features that the MY25 models gain. Even the base ST now includes a large touchscreen, wireless Apple CarPlay/Android Auto, dual-zone climate control, auto walkaway locking, and a new 3-year connected app subscription offering remote functionality, security alerts, location services, and some such. Meanwhile, the intriguing EV-first hybrid e-Power swaps from TI to more luxurious TI-L with only a slight price bump, while it also powers the new sporty and design e-Power, serving as the Qashqai's racy flagship. You can read my full detailed written review at carsguide.com.au for full specification details. With all that said, more value isn't even the most compelling thing about Nissan's latest European small SUV, so keep watching. Meanwhile, let's check out what's changed on the outside. Nissan wants to make the Qashqai look more premium than before. So the nose is all new, though you wouldn't necessarily know it unless you put old and new side by side, with different headlights, they're LEDs. It's got this samurai shield inspired grille. It's got a bit of a 3D effect, and that changes depending on what grade you're looking at. While around the side, there are these redesigned body moldings, and on this end design, you get 20-inch alloys for the first time. So that's a change for Australian Qashqai buyers. While out back, the Qashqai now has clear tail lights and they've been restyled, while the bumper has also been redesigned. Thankfully, you'll feel more of that premiumness once you step inside this thing, so let's check it out. Inside, Nissan's claims about being more premium isn't just BS, because they've actually put more sound deadening and richer materials, and it shows. In this end design version, you get suede on the dash, and the dashboard itself has been slightly redesigned here to look more premium. There are more premium elements in the center console, whilst every model now gets this 12.3-inch touchscreen as well as a few extra features. But otherwise, it's as per usual in the third generation Qashqai case. So that translates to great seats, quite a good amount of room up front, excellent storage, really easy and practical layout of buttons and controls, and just generally a very user-friendly interface. Plus, it just feels good in here. It does feel like a European SUV with quite a bit of Japanese style and vavavoom, I guess. While out the back, it's fairly tight in the back seat for larger kids, but generally as a 5-seater family car for smaller kids, this car is spot on. Finally, out back. While the e-Power version of the Qashqai does lose up to 100 litres of cargo capacity compared to the regular turbo petrol version, in the end design with the 20-inch alloys, you do get a temporary spare wheel, and that in a hybrid SUV is a real bonus. I wish more car makers would do that. Meanwhile, under the bonnet, I'll show you something interesting. Join me. Nothing's changed under the bonnet, which means that you still get the carryover 1.3 litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol engine driving the front wheels via a CVT transmission, or you get this e-power unit, which is a 1.5 litre 3-cylinder petrol turbo engine that uses the electric motor to drive the front wheels, which means it doesn't have a gearbox at all. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? The engine's main job then is to charge a small lithium-ion battery to power the electric motor. Along with eco, normal and sport driving modes, there is also the choice of a one-pedal driving function to slow the car down while providing some additional battery recharge. E-Power then remains as an easy yet effective stepping stone between a regular hybrid and full EV, and you won't need to plug it in either. So what's the NY25 Qashqai like to drive? Well, we're behind the wheel of the N-Design e-Power, and this is the top of the line version with the big 20-inch wheels, which we've never experienced on Australian roads before in a Qashqai. So given that there's been no changes mechanically to these cars, it's no surprise to learn that it feels the same to drive compared to last year's model, which means in the e-Power you get this smooth, seamless acceleration and surge of power and torque, because it's basically an EV powertrain with a petrol engine assisting it for range and for a bit of extra oomph. So it's a rapid car. It's good to drive. It has great handling, excellent steering, and a nice level of engagement as you'd want in a European SUV. Now, having said that, the cheaper version, the 1.3 litre turbo petrol engine, weighs 200 kilograms less model for model compared to the e-Power equivalents, and that manifests itself in a car with greater agility, a little bit more control, and it just feels overall like a lighter and more fun car to drive. So there are your differences between the two cars, but both of them are smooth and refined and quite quick. As long as you're willing to use the accelerated pedal in the turbo, because it doesn't have the electric motor assistance that the e-Power has. And actually the ride is pretty good. On the 20-inch wheel model, like this one I'm driving now, it feels good. It doesn't crash over bumps or anything like that. It's surprisingly refined and comfortable. Probably my favourite thing about this car, other than its just general driving dynamics, is how good the driver assistance systems are. I've been driving a lot of Chinese cars lately, and they really interfere. They're very intrusive. The warnings and the steering wheel tugging to keep you in line, and just the paranoid tune that clearly aren't set up for Australian road conditions. They detract from the driving experience, and this doesn't happen in the Qashqai. In fact, I would say overall, dynamically, the Qashqai is right up there with premium European cars, SUVs that cost more. So, and given this car is a British and European engineered and designed vehicle, that's no surprise. So the Qashqai remains one of our favourite compact SUVs, and the e-Power especially, if exceptional fuel consumption is your priority. So it's a good thing. Well done, Nissan. So much for driving. Here's what the Japanese company claims the regular turbo and e-Power hybrid Qashqais average respectively. Note that more expensive 95 RON premium unleaded petrol is recommended. So much for the theory. On our 200-kilometre launch loop, in the petrol turbo version of the Qashqai, we managed a frankly disappointing 10 litres per 100 kilometres, although the engine was very new and tight. Whilst in this e-Power version, we managed a very respectable 5.5 litres per 100 kilometres. I can tell you which version I'd be buying. This J12 generation Qashqai scored a 5-star ANCAP crash test rating based on the Euro NCAP result tested back in 2021. Just keep in mind that for Nissan's ProPilot Active Lane Keep Assist Tech, a surround view camera and an alarm, you'll need to stretch to the TI grade and up. You can reference my detailed written review at carsguide.com.au for more details. Otherwise, all models include the expected driver assist safety systems, including AEB, rear cross traffic alert, blind spot warning and adaptive cruise control, as well as 7 airbags, so you're well looked after in this Nissan. And speaking of being well looked after, finally we've saved the biggest and best Qashqai news for last. While the 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty continues, if you choose to get this serviced at a Nissan dealer, that extends to 10 years and 300,000 kilometres, plus there's roadside assistance for that period as well. And that's not all. Furthermore, you only pay $399 per service for the first 5 years, and that represents a saving of over $1,000 compared to the 2024 Qashqai. So why is Nissan doing this? Because they want to be better than competition and they want to win the the trust of the buyers. Can we keep that? The MY25 Qashqai is a classic case of being beyond the sum of its parts. While it's not perfect, it manages to be a high quality, enjoyable, spacious and very economical in e-power guise, compact SUV with upmarket aspirations. But much more than that, it's now got the backing of Nissan in a way that no other car company offers across the board. So that makes it a very compelling family SUV proposition. Don't forget, you can read the full review at carsguide.com.au, and as always, thanks for watching.